Hello everybody, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today I'm going to be talking about the treasure spawn that just came out recently. Okay, so first thing to notice is this treasure spawn is going to be a pay to win treasure spawn. You're going to need a couple hundred, I'd say actually around 500 to 800 gems to actually be even able to obtain the monsters in the first place. And then you're going to need maybe like 100 gems to obtain one of these gear pieces because they don't offer it in here. And you're going to have to obtain it through the treasure medals. And the treasure medals are 2,000, while the treasure medals you can obtain through the chest go up to a total, like if you were to get all 3 chests, if you were lucky enough to get all 3 chests, it'd be 1,200. So overall, not really worth it. But anyways, going off from there, the only thing that's going to be worth it is legitimately the sexy doctor Armida. I can't even say her name right. Because if you manage to hit all of her hits, she does more damage to Kairat. She confuses all enemies for 60 seconds with a success value of 60. This can be very good, or this cannot be helpful at all. Keep in mind that it's going to have a lower chance of activation though. She increases cost recovery speed for all allies for 10 seconds for 60. I mean, not 10 seconds for 60. She increases the cost recovery speed of all allies. Not much really of a difference than the cost recovery speed, just a general buff. She casts Beast on all allies for 60 seconds. This nullifies status alignments, debuffs, cast a ward, so you're protected from a hit KO instead of leave you at 1 HP. And there's a 60% magic attack and attack boost. If you have like regular buffs on you, like if you have like the 80% regular attack and 80% regular magic attack buff, Beast will still increase it by an extra 60%. It does not stack with them, though it can be removed through removing buffs. It can be removed that way, but it's not the same as the regular buffs, so it's going to stack. I read it in the description, so I know it does that for a fact. And on top of it, it casts Frenzy on your character as well. Frenzy nullifies status alignments and debuffs as well. So she's removing status alignments and debuffs for everybody, granting them a magic attack and attack boost, increasing cost recovery speed, and possibly doing more damage than Kairat. So she's definitely a good monster. On top of it, she has a more than a half chance to add a stack of confusion on the target. Can be more better for player versus player, but it can be useful for player versus enemy at times, maybe. But yeah, she's definitely a good monster to have. I definitely, if I could get one of my guildmates to go for her, I definitely get 1, maybe 2 of my guildmates to go for her. Other than that, we don't really need too much of her. And she is legitimately the only thing you're going to go after. Elevation only proc rates for the weapon. Elevation doesn't proc rate for the armor. And with the ability she has, she's little to no different than the regular DJ Himiko. So, not really worth it. And then the armors and weapons right here, reason I'm just downing these weapons right here. These weapons right here are not worth your time. Do not touch this spawn if you're going for the weapons. It's not worth it. It's a ripoff because they're going to be coming out with the Full Metal Alchemist collapse soon. Full Metal Alchemist collapse will have cost 30 for weapons. And at the very end of the event, they won't have Physical Testament XL, but they'll have Physical Testament XXL, so it's more proc rate and damage. They're going to have a better skill for a lot less. Same cost, better skill, a lot less gems you guys spend. Yeah, these weapons are not worth it. As for the armor, the collab armor is going to be 35 cost as well, but it's mainly going to have at the very end of the event like a Magic Reflection L or Magic Reflection M or something like that, or like Physical Reflection L, XL, something like that. It's going to have like a Physical or a Magical Reflection XL. While this one has a Fatal Testament XXL, this Fatal Testament is not completely worth it. Some of you might be arguing like, dude, Fatal Testament is like the best skill to proc with. Okay, so Fatal Testament only stacks alone, so it only has 1 stack, and that's itself. You can only have one of the skill. Afterwards, it does not stack more than once, so keep that in mind. And it has an extremely low proc rate to actually activate in the first place. While if you grab more consistent skill like Physical Testament XXL, or maybe one of the Blessing skills, they proc rate at a much higher chance. So you're going to be doing a lot more damage. Think of it as like you proc 3 versus procking 1 Fatal Testament. Fatal Testament, it definitely is the skill that increases the most damage. It is the skill that, I think it's the number 1 skill that increases the most damage, but it has such a crappy proc rate that I think you'll be able to get more damage just out of like regular physical testament XXLs and then blessings and, you know, skills that actually proc rate a lot, seal of attack, all that stuff. You'll be able to benefit more from those than you are Fatal Testament. So unless you're really going for like straight up DPS, I'd rather you have, like, if you're a berserker or if you're an archer or you're just going for straight up DPS, sure, this Fatal Testament could be good stuff to have because it's like a mixture of like a defensive armor that actually has an offensive skill. So this is the good stuff, but it has a really low proc rate. So if you rather have defenses on you, I understand completely. Just keep that in mind. Definitely, though, if you're just looking for the cost 35, like if you're not worried about the skill, because this skill isn't too much to talk about. Like if I were to recommend the skill to you, it really depends on what you're using, you know? Not even what you're using. It's debatable whether you want it or not in your eyes. This is more based on perspective, like should I go for this armor or not? Definitely not worth busting your butt over. Definitely not worth hauling all your gems into, but it can be useful for something. So Fatal Testament XL can be more useful than the Magic Reflection, but they're still going to be the same cost, and keep in mind the collab's going to be cheaper, so they're going to offer around the same gear score for cheaper in the collab. As for the weapons, definitely not worth it. I won't touch them. And then they have the stuff at 2,000 to start off with, and then the sub stuff's like 1,900 and then 1,800. The seal of stuff is definitely good because the seal of stuff has a high proc rate. I use the seal stuff a lot and it has a pretty dang high proc rate. When you're using an ability on the gear, I'm just cut this short. I'm not going to say physical, magical damage and all that stuff. When you're using an ability for the class designed for the weapon, it is going to have a chance to boost the ability power, and then it is going to also recover 5 costs back too, so that's why it's strong. It helps you recover costs, and allows you to deal more damage, so that's why it's good. But keep in mind that the medals are going to be harder to obtain, so this is definitely still going to be more of a pay to win spawn, even though it's a treasure medal spawn, so keep that in mind. With that being said, I hope this helped out, and I will see you in the next video. This is the AzureWrath. I'm out. Peace.